And it's still, and everything's, all your creatures that attacked are still tapped.
When Peter and Michael Cresta play cards, they're so close, it's almost like they have a language of their own.
Now I'm going to...
Well, at least this has more color now.
The boys don't have a lot of friends. They have one really good friend who they share, and it's just great. The three of them together are wonderful. But friendships are a real challenge.
If you have anything that has blue
At the last point, it would have no point if it didn't mean eyelid.
I'd have you for 2 unblockable.
And that's because both brothers have a form of autism.
My name is Peter Cresta, and I have Asperger's syndrome.
When he was 18 months old, he was already counting to 10 and knew his ABCs. He was reading by the time he was 3, and so we just thought that we had this very bright child. It was when he really got into school here in kindergarten, grade 1, that we saw things emerging more and more, that things were not quite as easy for him as they were for other kids.
With a virulent wound, one of your therapies, it gets -1/-1 counter, and when it dies, you get a poison counter.
Peter was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, anxiety, Tourette's, and Asperger's when he was in grade 2.
Never find anyone else who plays. It can be hard to say as a comparison between having Asperger's and a normal person, because I've never been a normal person. But I think the most challenging part was that I really didn't interact with anyone. At school, like, I had acquaintances, but I never was, in high school, it was all academics. I was never really into high school life.
It was a similar story for Peter's younger brother.
My name is Michael Cresta, and I have Asperger's syndrome, attention deficit disorder, Tourette's syndrome, and generalized anxiety disorder.
Michael was more, when I think back, he was more the classic autism. He wouldn't engage in eye contact. He had a lot of sensory issues. You know, things that we didn't understand about the clothes that he was wearing, the socks he was wearing were just setting him off. And so he had a hard time as a young guy.
People with Asperger's struggle with understanding normal social interaction.
Add an additional one. As I understand it, people without Asperger's don't have difficulty making a phone call. If I'm calling someone for the first time, I get really nervous, and then, like, just even calling a business, I get nervous, and then I have to really force myself to make the call.
Do you want to, can you grab 3 since you're so tall?
Cresta says since Asperger's is believed to be genetic, it's not surprising that both of her sons have it, which has been a challenge.
When you're going for a job interview, how do you dress appropriately? How do you speak appropriately? What kind of questions do you ask? How do you respond? When you're on a date, when you're going down to the corner store, all of these things, because this is the world that's so difficult for people with Asperger's syndrome to negotiate.
Look at this! We did it in record time!
Michael is 18 years old and he just graduated high school. He's going to be studying computer engineering in university.
Something like this.
Peter is 21 years old and he already has a plan for his future.
I don't want to have children because I don't want them to have to go through this. I think I was lucky. I don't want to have children who aren't so lucky.
He would love to one day live on his own, and his real passion is making music.
Already finished and basically completely exported and done.
When you're in your 30s, where do you see yourself?
I would love to be writing music for video games.
The point is, Ixodron is only 2-2 now.
Yes.
For more information on Asperger's, you can log on to aspergers-manitoba.ca. For Shaw TV, I'm Mira Bahati Singh.
Thinking of how I was going to act out on my turn.
Your turn.